Hey, so I want to talk about defineProps and using it with TypeScript, with Vue and Nuxt. So let's start a new Nuxt project. Let's open it in Editor. Now, when you define props in a Vue application, you have two options. There is a defineProps macro, which can either accept an object with a traditional style of prop. So this is saying there's going to be a prop called message, and it's going to be a string. In this case, we pass a string constructor to Vue, and Vue uses that to validate the prop for us. There's also another way of telling Vue about a valid prop, and that is we can pass this not to the function at runtime, but as a TypeScript generic. And in this case, we could say message string. Now, TypeScript is not runtime, it's purely compile time, but Vue will transform this from a compile time type into exactly the same code that this is. Here is how you might know that for sure. If we run our dev server, you'll see when we hit that endpoint that Vue complains. It's actually doing runtime validation. And if you look in the browser, I've opened up the Nuxt DevTools here, and you can type Command K and search for inspect to get to the same panel. If we inspect the transformation that our file has gone through, this shows every step from the original code that you wrote through to the code that is running in the browser. We can see what the Vue plugin has done. And it's compiled this to this. So we have exactly the same object-style runtime syntax that you might be used to. But you can do more clever things with it. You can actually write a full interface and move it out of that generic, like this. That's a lot nicer already. And it will still work in exactly the same way. In fact, if we make this optional here, you'll see it's optional now at the runtime step 2, and we won't get a message of complaint. But there is one gotcha. If we move this out of the file, maybe we add a new shared props file, and we export that exact same interface, and we then import it, everything looks good from a TypeScript point of view, but there'll be a nasty red error in our runtime app. And this says that we need to have TypeScript installed. The fact is that Nuxt doesn't come with TypeScript installed by default. It's a large dependency and most users don't need it. All of the TypeScript magic that you get when you use Nuxt is coming from your IDE. We expose it with the tsconfig, and that is all most people need. But if you're doing this, you'll need to install it separately. You'll need to add TypeScript as a dependency. And as soon as you do that, Vue will be able to resolve my props from this import, even if it's using something like an alias. And you'll see that the props are correctly generated. Hope this helps.